Good morning, afternoon, pardon me. Boy, my way out of sync here. Anyways, folks, here we are. It's July 2nd, day after my birthday, and 59 years old today. So I've been around a few years. So basically, we're going to talk about Trudeau and the big lie. Now, you hear a lot of things about the globalist puppet, um, all the global thing, everything associated with, like as would be referred to in the States as the deep state, which, if you think about it, kind of fits the bill for Trudeau because he comes out of the son of a former prime minister who is, although I didn't agree with Pierre Elliott Trudeau, he wasn't a stupid man. Now, we can't say the same about Justin, who is being coached or puppeteered by Gerald Butts. Now, what have they done compared to what they promised in the election? And their platform, all you have to do is go look at the Liberal, what they ran for. It's plastered all over the place. What they ran on last election. Election reform, which now they're trying to say means coming up with some BS alternate universe type explanation rather than getting rid of first past the post, as he said many times in videos, et cetera, until it actually came out time to do it. So he's under fire now for what happened 18 years ago, and I've said this in a previous video, through the Creston Advance. Now, what seems to be forgotten in all this is our prime minister apologized. So, for those who are having difficulties, when you apologize for something, that means you did something wrong. Okay, that's pretty simple. So, what we care, I'm not worried about the victim, who she is or whatever, but by his own rhetoric, he owes us an explanation as to exactly what happened, what precipitated the apology. He's the Prime Minister of Canada. He is a self proclaimed feminist. Those are his words, those are not my words. So, if you are going to say, I am this, and virtue signal all over the world, included in a NAFTA agreement, all the free trade agreement, in your cabinet, gender, all this stuff here. That is him. He did that, Justin Trudeau. This isn't bipartisan political ship. This is Trudeau holding himself to his standards. Now, I don't know how much clearer you could possibly make that. That is him. So, where's the explanation? Which brings me to my point, the big lie. So far, if you listen to this man, everything he does is virtue signaling, and it's a lie. I mean, essentially. And like they say, oh, everybody lies. Well, that may be true at some point in time, but he ran on lies, all of it. Recall, just after he was elected, the climate thing in Paris. Canada's back, et cetera, et cetera. And I mean, I'm not going to repeat it. You all know, and if you don't, well, you're majorly out of touch. I mean, the audacity of somebody to come out and say that and then totally do a 180 and go the exact opposite way. I mean, who would have thought in the Paris, when they made the Paris Accord, if he would have said, included in that is us buying a $4.5 billion pipeline. Now, do you think the applause would have been so great? I think not. I think people forget that. And too many times people think that, oh, well, that happens. He's a busy man, et cetera, et cetera. And how is he expected to? Well, we're talking about the Prime Minister of Canada. And if you have no idea of the work entailed in doing that, you shouldn't run for that office. And saying, I don't have time, I'm overwhelmed with the amount of people he has helping him, especially with Butts running the show in the background, and the World Wildlife Federation, WW, look into his background. And I mean, plus his Butts' affiliation with the Ontario Liberal Party in Wynne, it comes fairly obvious that these people are not well in the head, and they do not have Canada's best interest at heart. So, what do we do? No, I don't belong to any political party. Yes, I am right wing. That has changed over the years. I mean, I was pretty much, maybe left center, libertarian, but that has changed because it's gotten so crazy. So what I'm asking people to do is I would like to see us get together. So by contacting me or forming a group, and then we all get together as to what should we do. What should we do? I got a few things here. This here is part of what I got. Um, I do a lot of reading in that, and I'll read you some of the stuff I've been writing just off the top of my head. Taxation without representation is tyranny. Being that we got a carbon tax. Now, I don't ever remember that anybody, well, number one, I never voted for him, but where's the representation? My MP here, who happens to be liberal, never asked that. He told the party line. That's tyranny. When you get a tax forced down your throat, you can slice and dice it and make it look as good as you want. It's going to general revenue. It is tyranny. That's not going overboard. That is what it is. False representation of constituencies is a crime against its people. That should be in our Constitution. That the people have unalienable and undivisible right to reform or change their government whenever it is found to be found adverse or inadequate to the purpose of its institution. Meaning we, the people, and I'm not talking about the United States, I'm talking about here in Canada. We have the right. We're the ones paying the bills here, for Pete's sakes. Let's not forget that. These guys work for us. We don't work for them. And I think that gets forgotten in a lot of this stuff. Now, I'm not lecturing people. I'm just bringing up what should be painfully obvious. So let's take back what we have. We can sort a lot of this stuff out after once we get out of the hand because I mean it's just gone insane. A pipeline, taxation, carbon tax, all this, the Aga Khan. And I mean, you look at all his ministers, the Creston, the groping incident. I mean, India. I mean, the Minister of Defense. All this stuff, him getting put in through the Sikhs and that, and guys resign. I mean, pardon me, if you really look at it, where is our rights as Canadian citizens? And I'm not even touching immigration. I'm just talking about things in this sphere. So these are our dollars at work. So let's get some groups going and let's talk. Let's see where we can go with this and get a movement going. And I'm not talking about Lead Now and that crap there. I'm talking about just regular people like us getting together and steering our country. If we got to form a political party, whatever. Um, let's do something. Let's get something going. That's meaning to us, but it means us actually having to sit down, have a decent conversation, which is a long time coming, about the stuff that is wrong here, and we can encompass many things: land ownership, resource ownership. All of this stuff comes into the deal. Resource ownership. Ask how the Alaska and the Permanent Fund, that each Alaskan gets part of a percentage of what the state takes in for their oil and gas and their mining. Yes, imagine that, eh? The actual people getting money for the resources that everybody keeps saying, oh, well, you own it. Yeah, well, the only thing we own is the right to be taxed right now here in Canada. So let's take a look at that land ownership. In my mind, it should be the right of every Canadian citizen, legal citizen, to have the right to own a piece of Canada. You take a look at a map right now. and you look at the crown land we have here, try buying it, see the process you have to go through. And I'm going to use Alaska as an example. Number one, because I lived there and I had bought land up there through what they call their land auctions, and they're over OTC, over the counter, for buying state land. And that's in the Alaskan Constitution. That the people, imagine this, the people of the state of Alaska, it is their right to own land. It is the duty of the state legislature to ensure everything possible that the people of that state get to own the land. Now, however you want to slice and dice that, you know, nothing's going to get done. We can debate and take pot shots as the other all day, and that will get us nowhere. So what I'm proposing is we get down, we start getting together, identify one another, and sit down and let's start making some policies that make sense to everybody. Things that are going to put us to work. I mean, the other way, you really think about this. Now, I keep hearing about a living wage. Let's raise the minimum, the minimum wage. I never hear anything about let's lower the prices. I mean, everybody knows in Canada we pay such a premium price on everything: cell phones, internet, gas, vehicle. I mean, it goes on and on and on. The cartel with milk, dairy products. So, what happened to lowering those prices? That way it makes it more affordable, but what's stopping it. You don't even have to say. And we go from there. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but let's open up an honest dialogue with each other. Yes, there's going to be things we don't agree on, but on the main issues, taxation, the rights of the people, free speech, the freedom to represent yourself, the freedom, the right to own land. And again, I can't say it enough, taxation. Let's start talking. Otherwise, it's going to stay exactly the way it is. People are going to be sitting there yelling and screaming, and absolutely nothing will be done. So subscribe in the bottom. Send me a comment on what you think about this idea, and let's get this moving, please. I would very much love to. No, I'm not running for office, so there are far more capable people of the same mind, I'm sure, that we could get in there. But let's start making some changes. Anyways, take care, everybody. Have a great one. Your wife is attempting to reach you on your cellular device. Hey, sweetie.